Tom Cruise didn't just ride a Kawasaki Ninja in Top Gun, he became obsessed with it and bought multiple bikes for his personal collection. The iconic opening scene wasn't even supposed to feature a motorcycle. The real story behind the black and red machine is far more complex than audiences ever imagined. Number 20. The bike was brand new for 1986. The Kawasaki GPZ's 900R Ninja that Maverick rides was released in 1984, making it practically brand new when Top Gun filmed. Kawasaki had just revolutionized the sport bike world with this machine. It was the first production motorcycle to exceed 150 miles per hour. The liquid-cooled inline-4 engine produced 115 horsepower, absolutely massive for the mid-80s. The GPZ 900R wasn't just fast. It redefined what motorcycles could be. Full fairing, modern aerodynamics, cutting-edge technology. This was the future wrapped in red and black plastic. Paramount's transportation department chose it specifically because it looked futuristic. Top Gun needed to feel modern, technological, advanced. The Ninja fit perfectly, but getting the bikes wasn't easy. Kawasaki dealers had waiting lists. The GP's 900R was the hottest motorcycle in America. Everyone panted one. The production paid premium prices to source 4 bikes immediately. They couldn't wait months for normal delivery. The Ninja's newness created problems. Mechanics weren't familiar with the fuel injection system yet. Parts weren't readily available. When something broke, they couldn't just visit a parts store. Everything required ordering from Kawasaki, sometimes waiting weeks. The bike's cutting-edge technology made it perfect for film, but a nightmare for maintenance. That tension between innovation and practicality defined the entire production. Number 19. Tom Cruise didn't know how to ride motorcycles.
Maverick, you big stud. Take me to bed or lose me.
Tom Cruise had never ridden a motorcycle before Top Gun, not once. He'd driven cars for films, but never touched a bike. Director Tony Scott wanted Maverick on a motorcycle in the opening sequence. Cruise had 48 hours to learn before filming started. The studio hired a professional riding instructor who worked with Cruise around the clock. They started in a parking lot with a small bike. Cruise kept stalling it. The clutch control was completely foreign to him. The instructor was patient but concerned. 48 hours wasn't enough time to become proficient. Cruise attacked motorcycle riding like he attacked everything else, with obsessive intensity. He practiced 16 hours straight the first day. He fell twice, skinned his palms, and kept going. By the second day, he graduated to the actual Kawasaki Ninja. The bike terrified him initially. The power was overwhelming. Twist the throttle too hard, and the front wheel lifted off the ground. The instructor taught him respect for the machine's capabilities. Cruise learned fast because failure wasn't an option. Cameras were scheduled. The production couldn't wait. By the time filming started, Cruise could ride competently, but not confidently. Watch his body language in early motorcycle scenes. He's tense, gripping too tight. Later scenes show more relaxation as his skills improved. The transformation from non-rider to competent motorcyclist happened during filming. Cruise's determination turned a potential disaster into an iconic image. Number 18. The opening highway scene was illegal. That iconic opening sequence with Maverick riding alongside the runway wasn't filmed where you think. The location was Naval Air Station Miramar in San Diego, but the highway scene violated multiple laws. First, they were riding on a restricted military access road without proper authorization. The production had permits for filming at Miramar, but not for motorcycle stunts on active base roads. Tony Scott decided to shoot it anyway. He figured asking forgiveness was easier than getting permission. Second, Tom Cruise wasn't wearing a helmet. California law required helmets for all motorcycle riders. The production wanted Cruise's face visible. A helmet would hide the star, defeating the purpose. They filmed early morning when base security was minimal. A small crew, 2 cameras, and Cruise on the Ninja. They completed the sequence in 90 minutes before anyone official noticed. Base commanders discovered the unauthorized filming later that day. They were furious. The production had violated security protocols and state law simultaneously. Lawyers spent weeks smoothing things over. Paramount made substantial donations to military charities. The base commander accepted apologies and promised it wouldn't happen again. But the footage was perfect. Tony Scott got exactly what he wanted. The risk paid off cinematically. That opening shot of Cruise's face, the Ninja, and the F-14 taking off became one of cinema's most memorable images. All because Scott broke rules and hoped for forgiveness. Number 17. 4 identical ninjas were used. Paramount purchased 4 identical Kawasaki GPs 900R motorcycles for Top Gun. Each bike had specific purposes. The Hero bike was the pristine machine used for close-ups and dialogue scenes. It stayed perfect throughout production. The cameras loved it. Every piece of chrome gleamed. The paint was flawless. This bike rarely actually rode. It mostly sat looking beautiful, while cameras captured details. The second bike was the riding bike. Tom Cruise actually rode this one during filming. It accumulated miles and wear. The fairings got rock chips. The exhaust developed a patina. The seat showed compression from repeated use. This bike took the abuse of actual filming. The third bike was the stunt bike. Professional riders used it for dangerous sequences or shots requiring expert skills Cruise didn't possess. This bike crashed twice during filming. Both times were minor, but fairings cracked and needed replacement. The fourth bike was the parts donor. When the other 3 needed repairs, this bike provided components. Its engine was swapped into the riding bike when the original developed problems. Its fairings replaced damaged pieces on the stunt bike. By the end of production, the donor bike was a stripped skeleton. The 4-bike strategy was expensive but necessary. Having backups meant filming never stopped for motorcycle problems. When one bike was being repaired, 3 others were ready. Paramount sold all 4 bikes after filming. Collectors have spent decades trying to determine which specific bike appeared in which scenes. Number 16. The motorcycle wasn't in the original script. The Kawasaki Ninja appears in Top Gun's most iconic moments, but it wasn't in the original screenplay. The script described Maverick driving a car. Tony Scott changed it during pre-production. He wanted something that visually represented Maverick's character. Fast, dangerous, independent. A car felt too conventional, too safe. Scott had recently seen a Kawasaki Ninja and was mesmerized by its aggressive styling. He showed photos to producers. They were skeptical. Motorcycles were dangerous for lead actors. Insurance companies would object. Filming motorcycle scenes was expensive and complicated. Scott persisted. He argued the motorcycle was essential to Maverick's character. The bike represented freedom and rebellion. Maverick wouldn't drive a boring car. The character demanded something more. Producers eventually agreed with conditions. Tom Cruise would receive extensive training. Professional stunt riders would handle dangerous sequences. The motorcycle scenes would be carefully controlled and supervised. Once approved, Scott expanded the motorcycle's role beyond the original plan. What started as a brief appearance became a defining character element. The runway scene, the race to the bar, Charlotte's house, the motorcycle threaded throughout the film. Other characters even reference it. Goose jokes about Maverick's bike. Charlie notices it immediately. The Ninja became a supporting character, as important as any human actor. Scott's instinct transformed Top Gun from a conventional military film into a cultural phenomenon. That last-minute script change created one of cinema's most recognizable vehicles. Number 15. Kawasaki gave no financial support. Despite the massive exposure, Kawasaki provided zero support for Top Gun. No free motorcycles, no technical assistance, no promotional consideration. Paramount bought all 4 Ninjas at full retail price from local dealers. Kawasaki's American division was contacted during pre-production. The studio wanted help sourcing bikes and parts. Kawasaki's response was polite but firm. They didn't participate in product placement. Their motorcycles sold themselves without Hollywood help. The GPZ 900R had year-long waiting lists. Kawasaki didn't need more demand. They needed more production capacity. Providing bikes to a movie studio made no business sense. Paramount was frustrated but proceeded independently. They paid dealer markup prices for motorcycles selling like crazy. They paid again for replacement parts when things broke. The production spent over $70,000 on Kawasaki-related expenses, all out of pocket, no sponsorship. After Top Gun exploded, Kawasaki's opinion changed instantly. The film created unprecedented demand for the Ninja. Dealers couldn't keep them in stock. Used prices exceeded new prices. The waiting lists grew to 2 years. Kawasaki scrambled to increase production. Their marketing department begged Paramount for promotional materials. Could they use film footage in advertisements? Paramount said no. You didn't help us. We won't help you. The relationship stayed frosty for years. Kawasaki missed the greatest marketing opportunity in motorcycle history because they were too successful to care. Then they spent a decade trying to recapture that magic. The GPZ's 900R became forever associated with Top Gun, despite Kawasaki's complete lack of involvement. Number 14, the famous wheelie was unplanned. The shot of Maverick popping a wheelie as he leaves the carrier has become iconic. It wasn't in the script or storyboard. The stunt rider performing that sequence did it spontaneously. His name was Donnie Williams, a professional motorcycle stunt performer. Williams had been riding the Ninja all morning, filming various departure shots. He was bored. The same angle, the same speed, over and over. Tony Scott wanted one more take. Williams decided to make it interesting. As he accelerated away from the carrier set, he yanked back on the handlebars and cracked the throttle wide open. The Ninja's front wheel lifted smoothly. Williams held the wheelie for about 50 yards before setting it down gently. Scott saw it on the monitor and started screaming. Not angry screaming, excited screaming. That was exactly the attitude Maverick needed. Dangerous, showy, technically skilled. Scott wanted it again. This time with multiple cameras. Williams performed the wheelie 6 more times. Each one was slightly different. Different heights, different distances, different speeds. The editing used the best version, seamlessly integrated into the sequence. Tom Cruise watched from the sidelines, amazed and jealous. He wanted to do the wheelie himself. His riding instructor absolutely forbade it. Wheelies required advanced skills Cruise didn't possess. One mistake meant a crash that could shut down production. Cruise accepted the logic but hated it. He practiced wheelies secretly on his personal bikes for months after filming. Eventually he mastered the technique, but never on camera. Williams' spontaneous creativity created an unforgettable moment. Sometimes the best choices aren't planned. Number 13, Charlotte's driveway. Scene destroyed a bike. The romantic scene where Maverick arrives at Charlotte's house on the Ninja ended badly. The shot required Cruise to ride up the driveway, stop precisely at a mark, and dismount smoothly. Simple in theory, difficult in execution. The driveway was steep and curved. Cruise had to approach at speed to look natural, then brake hard to hit his mark. He practiced it dozens of times. The physics were tricky. Too much front brake on the slope, and the rear wheel would lift. Too much rear brake, and the bike would skid sideways. Cruise was getting it right about 70% of the time. Tony Scott wanted perfection. They'd shot 12 takes, and Scott wasn't satisfied. He wanted more aggression in the approach. Cruise came in faster on take 13. He hit the brakes at the mark. The front brake grabbed harder than expected on the steep slope. The rear wheel lifted high, too high. The bike went vertical. Cruise bailed off the back as the Ninja started to flip. The motorcycle crashed down hard on its left side. The impact was spectacular. Fairing shattered. The mirror snapped off. The handlebar bent. Brake lever broke clean off. Cruise was unhurt, but the bike was devastated. The crew spent the rest of the day repairing damage. They swapped fairings from the donor bike. straightened the handlebar with a torch and brute force, installed a new brake lever. The repaired bike never looked quite right again. If you watch carefully, that motorcycle has subtle differences in later scenes, all because of one overly aggressive approach to Charlotte's driveway. Number 12. The sunset ride was filmed at dawn. That gorgeous sunset ride with Maverick and Charlie wasn't filmed at sunset. They shot it at dawn with the footage color corrected in post-production. Tony Scott preferred shooting motorcycle sequences in morning light. Better visibility, better safety, fewer variables. The crew started at 4:30 in the morning. Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis rode slowly along the coastal highway while the sun rose behind them. The cinematographer filtered the cameras to warm the light, creating a sunset appearance. In reality, they were riding into sunrise, not sunset. This created problems with shadows. Sunset shadows fall differently than sunrise shadows. Observant viewers noticed inconsistencies. The sun appears behind them, but shadows fall in physically impossible directions. Scott didn't care about technical accuracy. He cared about the emotional tone. The scene needed to feel romantic, dreamy, perfect. Dawn light gave him more control to create that feeling. The actors were miserable. 4:30 call times meant waking at 3 in the morning. Hair and makeup took another hour. They arrived on set exhausted, trying to generate romantic chemistry while half asleep. McGillis kept yawning between takes. The makeup department worked overtime, hiding her fatigue. Cruise was energized by the early morning. He loved the quiet dawn atmosphere. The highway was empty, just them and the crew. It felt intimate despite 50 people watching. The fake sunset became one of Top Gun's most romantic images. Nobody cared it was actually sunrise. The illusion worked perfectly. Number 11. McGillis never actually rode on the bike. Kelly. McGillis appears to ride on the back of Maverick's Ninja in several scenes. She never actually did. Every shot used doubles or clever editing. McGillis was terrified of motorcycles. She'd never been on one and refused to start for Top Gun. The studio tried convincing her. It's safe. Tom's a good rider. We'll go slowly. McGillis wouldn't budge. Her contract didn't require motorcycle riding. She wasn't doing it. Tony Scott worked around her refusal with movie magic. Close-up shots showed McGillis sitting on the parked Ninja with Cruise. Wide shots used a double wearing identical clothing. The double was a professional stunt woman who resembled McGillis from behind. Medium shots used careful editing. They'd film Cruise riding alone, then film McGillis reacting to wind and movement in front of a green screen. Composited together, it looked like they were riding together. The sunset ride, all doubles and tricks. The beach scene, same thing. Anytime you see both their faces clearly, the bike isn't actually moving. The deception worked so well that even crew members didn't realize the extent of the fakery. McGillis felt guilty about refusing to ride. She knew it created extra work and expense, but her fear was genuine and overwhelming. Cruise was understanding. He never pressured her. He'd do whatever riding was necessary. Years later, McGillis admitted regretting her decision. She wishes she'd conquered her fear. The missed opportunity bothers her, but in 1986, no amount of persuasion could get her on that Kawasaki. Number 10. The bike's exhaust was modified for sound. The Kawasaki. Ninja's stock exhaust wasn't loud enough for Tony Scott. He wanted a deeper, more aggressive sound that matched Maverick's personality. The production company hired a custom exhaust fabricator who specialized in racing motorcycles. They removed the stock mufflers completely and installed straight pipes with minimal baffling. The result was thunderously loud. Ear-splitting, actually. The modified exhaust violated every noise ordinance in California. Sound levels exceeded 110 decibels at idle. At full throttle, it approached 130 decibels, louder than a jet engine at certain distances. The sound team loved it. The microphones captured that aggressive snarl perfectly, but filming became problematic. Dialogue was impossible during riding scenes. The exhaust drowned out everything. Actors couldn't hear their cues. Directors couldn't give instructions. They'd film the motorcycle shots silent, then add dialogue in post-production. Tom Cruise suffered hearing damage from the modified exhaust. He rode without earplugs because they'd be visible on camera. Hours of exposure to 130 decibel exhaust took a toll. Cruise developed permanent tinnitus in his left ear. He hears a constant ringing that never stops. Decades later, he still deals with it. The modified exhaust created the perfect sound for Top Gun, but damaged the star's hearing permanently. After filming Wrapped, they returned the bikes to stock exhaust configuration. The custom pipes were too illegal to keep. One set allegedly ended up in a private collection, worth thousands to Top Gun fans. Number 9. Insurance refused to cover. Tom Cruise riding Paramount's insurance carrier explicitly excluded Tom Cruise from motorcycle coverage. If he crashed and got injured, the policy wouldn't pay. The production would be personally liable for all costs. This created massive financial risk. Top Gun's budget was $15 million. A serious Cruise injury could cost multiples of that in medical expenses, lost production time, and potential lawsuits. The insurance company calculated that risk and said no. They'd insure the stunt riders. They'd insure the motorcycles. They wouldn't insure Tom Cruise on a motorcycle under any circumstances. Paramount executives demanded Cruise stop riding immediately. Use doubles for everything. Cruise refused. He'd trained hard to ride that Ninja. The motorcycle scenes were crucial to his character. He wasn't handing them to a stunt double. The standoff lasted days. Lawyers got involved. Accountants calculated worst-case scenarios. Meanwhile, Tony Scott kept filming, ignoring the controversy. He needed Cruise on that bike and didn't care about insurance complications. The eventual compromise satisfied nobody. Cruise could ride for specific pre-approved shots only. A stunt coordinator had to sign off on each sequence. A paramedic unit stayed on set during all motorcycle filming. Cruise accepted these restrictions, then immediately started violating them. He'd ride when the stunt coordinator wasn't looking. He'd do unauthorized takes. The production had no real control. Firing him meant scrapping the film. Cruise exploited that leverage ruthlessly. The insurance carrier eventually paid a claim when Cruise suffered minor injuries. They tried denying coverage based on policy exclusions. Paramount threatened to switch carriers. The insurance company paid and immediately dropped Paramount after Top Gun Wrapped. Number 8. The bike never actually went on an aircraft carrier. Despite appearing in multiple aircraft carrier scenes, the Kawasaki Ninja never went near USS Enterprise. All carrier sequences were filmed on sets constructed in San Diego or on separate tarmac areas. The Navy explicitly prohibited civilian motorcycles on active carriers. Safety regulations, insurance liability, deck contamination concerns. Motorcycles leak fluids, or they drop debris. They're fire hazards around jet fuel and ordnance. The Navy said absolutely not. Tony Scott built a partial carrier deck on a warehouse stage. They constructed the island superstructure, a section of deck, and appropriate background. Clever camera angles made the set look like a complete carrier. For exterior shots, they used Miramar's tarmac, painted to resemble carrier deck markings. Parked F-14s in the background sold the illusion. The ocean visible in some shots was added optically in post-production. The deception was seamless. Audiences believed Maverick rode his Ninja right onto the carrier. Military consultants noticed immediately. The deck markings were slightly wrong. The safety equipment was missing. True carrier decks had features the set lacked, but civilians couldn't spot the differences. The fake carrier served its purpose. This created continuity headaches. Carrier shots and land shots had to match perfectly. The Ninja's position relative to aircraft, equipment, and personnel had to stay consistent. Script supervisors maintained detailed logs. Which bike was in which scene? What position? What angle? One mistake would destroy the illusion. The effort succeeded. Decades later, people still believe they filmed on an actual carrier. The Navy's prohibition forced creative solutions that worked better than reality. Number 7. Cruise bought 3 ninjas. After filming,
Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Tom Cruise became obsessed with the Kawasaki Ninja during Top Gun. When filming wrapped, he immediately purchased 3 GPZs, 900R motorcycles for his personal collection. Not replicas, not similar bikes. 3 identical machines matching the film bike exactly. Same year, same color scheme, same specifications. Cruise paid premium prices. The GPZ 900R was still in high demand. Dealers charge over sticker price. Cruise didn't care. He wanted those specific bikes. One went to his Los Angeles home, one stayed at his New York apartment. The third lived at his Colorado ranch. Cruise rode them constantly throughout the late 80s. He'd commute on the Ninja, arriving at studios and premieres on the famous red and black motorcycle. Paparazzi loved it. Every photo showed Hollywood's biggest star on Maverick's bike. The publicity was worth millions to Kawasaki, all unpaid and organic. Cruise treated the bikes hard. He rode fast, aggressively, taking risks. One Ninja crashed in 1987. Cruise low-sided it in a canyon, sliding into a guardrail. The bike was destroyed. He was badly bruised but continued riding. His insurance company begged him to stop. The second Ninja was stolen in 1989 from a New York parking garage. Never recovered. That left one survivor. Cruise kept it until 1995, then sold it at auction for charity. The winning bid was $250,000, roughly 20 times the original purchase price. The buyer was a Top Gun superfan who dreamed of owning Maverick's bike. Close enough. Number 6. The racing scene was completely unauthorized. The scene where Maverick races a sports car on the coastal highway wasn't approved by anyone. Tony Scott filmed it, guerrilla style, without permits or permission. The highway was California State Route 1, a public road. Filming required permits from multiple agencies: California Highway Patrol, Caltrans, local municipalities. The permit process took weeks or months. Scott didn't have that kind of time. His shooting schedule was tight. He decided to just do it and deal with consequences later. The crew arrived at dawn with minimal equipment. 2 cameras, essential personnel only. Tom Cruise on the Ninja, a professional driver in the Porsche. They positioned cameras and started filming. No road closures, no traffic control. Real cars drove past during takes. Some drivers recognized Tom Cruise and stopped to watch. This created additional hazards: gawkers blocking the road, people trying to get autographs. The crew worked fast, grabbing shots quickly before authorities arrived. They finished in 90 minutes. California Highway Patrol showed up as they were packing equipment. The officers were not amused. Illegal filming on state highways was serious. Filming motorcycle racing was reckless endangerment. They confiscated film and equipment pending investigation. Scott had anticipated this. The cameras loaded with film were decoys. The real footage was already driving back to the studio in an unmarked van. CHP eventually returned the confiscated material and issued citations. Paramount paid substantial fines, but they kept the footage. That unauthorized racing scene made the final cut, thrilling audiences who never knew its illicit origins. Number 5. The motorcycle influenced fighter pilot culture.
The rest of the bodywork on, took the time, put it on nice. I know I didn't show you guys in it, but
After Top Gun, fighter pilots started riding sport bikes in unprecedented numbers. The Kawasaki Ninja became the unofficial motorcycle of naval aviators. Before the film, most military pilots drove cars or cruiser motorcycles. Sport bikes were considered too dangerous, too irresponsible. Top Gun changed everything. If Maverick rode a Ninja, young pilots wanted Ninjas too. Naval Air Station parking lots filled with red and black Kawasaki's. The trend worried commanders. Sport bikes and fighter pilots made a dangerous combination. Both involved speed, risk-taking, adrenaline addiction. Young aviators started crashing motorcycles at alarming rates. Several pilots died in motorcycle accidents between 1986 and 1990. The Navy considered banning sport bikes for active duty personnel. Legal issues prevented an outright ban, but commanders strongly discouraged them. Safety briefings specifically addressed motorcycle risk. Insurance rates for military personnel owning sport bikes skyrocketed. None of it mattered. Top Gun had created a cultural association between fighter pilots and sport bikes that persisted for decades. Kawasaki marketed directly to this demographic. They offered military discounts on ninjas. Advertisements featured jets and motorcycles together. The connection became self-perpetuating. Each generation of new pilots grew up watching Top Gun. They wanted to be Maverick. Yeah, Maverick rode a ninja. Therefore, they needed ninjas. The motorcycle became part of fighter pilot identity. Even today, military bases near flight training centers have disproportionate numbers of sport bikes. Tom Cruise and Tony Scott accidentally influenced military culture in ways nobody predicted. One film created a 40-year relationship between fighter pilots and Kawasaki motorcycles. Number 4. The bike's instruments were non-functional on camera.
Fairly standard at the time. The narrow, compact engine was mounted lower in the frame, allowing it to take Japanese.
Look closely at the Ninja's instrument cluster during close-up shots. The speedometer and tachometer don't work. The needles stay frozen regardless of the bike's speed. This wasn't accidental. The production disabled the instruments deliberately for filming purposes. Working instruments created reflection problems. The gauge faces were chrome-ringed with glass covers. Studio lights reflected off them, creating glare that ruined shots. The cinematographer complained constantly. Every instrument close-up needed special lighting to minimize reflections. The solution was elegant. Remove the instrument guts, leaving just the cosmetic faces. The needles were positioned at aesthetically pleasing angles and glued in place. Speedometer at 80 miles per hour looked fast. Tachometer at 7,000 RPM suggested high performance. Neither moved, but cameras didn't reveal that. For riding sequences, this created continuity nightmares. The speedometer might show 80 in one shot, then 40 in the next because they used different bikes. Script supervisors eventually stopped trying to track it. They assumed audiences wouldn't notice frozen instruments. They were right. Decades passed before anyone pointed out the non-functional gauges. Tom Cruise knew about the modification and hated it. As a motorcyclist, frozen instruments felt wrong. He'd glance down naturally while riding, seeing needles that didn't respond. It broke his immersion. He asked multiple times to restore function. Tony Scott refused. Pretty shots mattered more than working gauges. Cruise accepted the decision but never liked it. Those frozen instruments bother him in every viewing of Top Gun. Number 3. The final bike, sold for $1.2 million.
A little flighty, particularly through bumpy turns. This was one of the better developed ones from that.
In 2015, one of the original Top Gun Kawasaki Ninjas sold at auction for $1.2 million. The bike had documented provenance proving it was the hero bike used for close-ups throughout filming. Original studio inventory tags still attached to the frame, production photos showing the specific serial number, maintenance logs from the Top Gun shoot, everything authenticated perfectly. After filming, Paramount sold the hero bike to a prop house that specialized in movie vehicles. It sat in storage for years, occasionally rented for Top Gun-themed events. The prop house owner died in 2012. His estate liquidated everything. The Ninja went to auction with minimal fanfare. Initial estimates suggested $50,000 to $75,000. Bidding started at $25,000 and climbed rapidly. Serious collectors recognized what they were seeing. This wasn't just a GP's 900R. This was Maverick's actual motorcycle. The bike that defined 80s cool. Tom Cruise sat on this specific machine. The camera loved this exact motorcycle. Bidding became a battle between 3 determined collectors. They pushed past $100,000, then $500,000. At $1 million, 2 bidders remained. The hammer fell at $1.2 million plus buyer's premium. Total price exceeded $1.3 million. The winner was an anonymous buyer, later revealed to be a tech billionaire and Top Gun obsessive. The bike now lives in a climate-controlled garage, rarely seen publicly. It's occasionally displayed at exclusive car and motorcycle shows. Armed guards watch it. The most expensive Kawasaki ever sold is a movie prop that wasn't even Kawasaki's idea. Number 2. Maverick's riding jacket wasn't motorcycle gear. Tom Cruise's iconic brown leather jacket wasn't designed for motorcycles. It was a modified Air Force flight jacket, completely unsuitable for riding. Real motorcycle jackets have specific features: reinforced shoulders and elbows, armor pockets, zippers designed to stay closed at speed, extra length in the back to cover kidneys. Maverick's jacket had none of this. It was a fashion piece, not protective equipment. The sleeves were too short, the zipper was too light, the leather was too thin. Costume designer Bobby Rad chose style over function. She wanted Maverick to look cool, not safe. The jacket became a problem during riding scenes. At speed, it would ride up Cruise's back, exposing his lower spine. The wind would catch the open front, ballooning it like a parachute. The short sleeves left his wrists exposed. Cruise complained multiple times. The jacket was uncomfortable and unsafe at motorcycle speeds. Could they modify it for better function? Red refused. The look was perfect. Changing anything would ruin the aesthetic. They compromised by adding hidden snaps to keep the jacket from ballooning. Elastic bands inside the sleeves held them down. Clear tape stuck the collar in place. On camera, everything looked natural. In reality, Cruise was held together with tape and hope. The jacket sold at auction in 1986 for $6,000. It's been resold multiple times since. Current estimated value exceeds $800,000. The most valuable fashion disaster in cinema history. Number 1. The bike launch sport. Bike culture in America.
Liquid-cooled inline 4 kept cool in traffic for you, but if you wanted to...
The Kawasaki Ninja and Top Gun didn't just sell motorcycles, it created an entire culture. Before 1986, sport bikes were a niche market in America. Cruisers dominated. Harley-Davidson owned the cultural imagination. Sport bikes were weird Japanese machines for racers and oddballs. Top Gun changed everything overnight. Suddenly, sport bikes were cool. They represented youth, rebellion, and sex appeal, everything Maverick embodied. Kawasaki couldn't build Ninjas fast enough. Waiting lists stretched to 3 years. Other manufacturers rushed to compete. Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki all launched sport bike programs. The segment exploded from 5% of the market to 30% within 5 years. Motorcycle magazines changed their editorial focus. Sport bike coverage dominated. Racing coverage increased. The entire industry shifted. Track days became popular. Regular riders could take their sport bikes to racetracks and ride fast legally. This didn't exist before Top Gun. The film created demand for the experience. Motorcycle gear evolved. Sport-specific jackets, pants, boots, gloves. An entire industry developed around sport bike culture. Race replica graphics became standard. Manufacturers offered street bikes painted like their racing machines. This started post-Top Gun. The Ninja and Top Gun influenced motorcycle design for decades. Aggressive fairings, low handlebars, rear-set foot pegs. Every sport bike adopted similar aesthetics. Even cruiser manufacturers created sport models. Harley eventually built the V-Rod, their attempt at sport bike customers. The irony is perfect. Tom Cruise didn't know how to ride when filming started. The motorcycle wasn't in the original script. Kawasaki provided no support. Yet that accidental combination created American sport bike culture. Maverick's Kawasaki Ninja wasn't just a movie prop. It became the catalyst that transformed American motorcycle culture forever. From illegal filming to record-breaking auctions, this bike created a legacy that redefined an entire industry.